Hello there, this is Alan Collins, and you're listening to the
Stoned Roadie Show.
Good morning, everybody. Time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the Stoned for the Stoned Roadie Show, and it's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
It's a Stoned Roadie Show, podcast 254. Wake and Bake the Morning Buzz, episode 128. Action. Alrighty then, fellow earthlings and slaves, looky here. My name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stoned Roadie, and with me, as always, my co-host, CoPilot, and the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. So what the heck are we going to talk about on this Wednesday, December the 4th, 2024 there, Griff?
Well, we don't have a whole lot of questions for on the comments, Lynyrd Skynyrd questions. We have some jibber jabber questions and comments and things, and we'll go ahead and go over those. And Gene Odom got stuck at the monument. He ran over some piece of metal, jagged piece of metal, and jacked his tire up. He couldn't plug it. And so he had gotten stranded there. I think he might be home. Yeah, he's home now because he had yesterday he had a West Side tour he had to do. So we didn't go jigger fishing, and we couldn't have done it anyway. That wind is whipping across that lake, and either Gene and I would have both got pneumonia on top of my pneumonia and probably drowned it anyway out in that damn wind, man. It's cold, windy, and just nasty outside here in Florida. And I think it's that way everywhere, pretty much. Cold everywhere.
Man, it's 20 degrees here in Ohio. But if some of you might have saw it, in some places in Ohio, like Ashtabula, they got 4 foot of snow. That's about 50 miles north of me, and we got maybe a half inch or something, and didn't even stick. My lawn's green out there, and it didn't stick at all. It's supposed to get a little bit of snow, but it's still not sticking yet. But I did get my furnace fixed. All it did was lose its prime when they changed the filter on my oil tank. It lost its prime or something. But
Well, they shouldn't have charged you, huh?
no, they didn't charge me. No service charge or nothing. No. So that was good.
Yeah, and then I noticed old Biden pardoned his crackhead son. And if you talk about a liar, I mean, the guy said, "Oh no, we're going to let justice take its course," and then his press secretary, "Oh yeah, he's not going to pardon his son. No, he's not going to do that." But then sure as shit, that's what he did. And so that just goes to prove to all you liberals out there that that your man's a big liar.
But yeah, all those heads of the Democratic Party when they was trying to roast Trump for that the January 6th crap that they invented, they were all going, "No one is above the law. No one is above the law. No one is above the law."
Except for them.
God almighty knows. What a bunch of...
And then he pardoned him all the way back to 2014. And why? You don't have anything on the books that he did 2014. You covering your ass for everything that he did do. So that's what God almighty.
Well, from what I understand, Joe Biden's still kind of being investigated for all that crap that he was involved in with Hunter, and if they have to use Hunter as a witness because he did what he did, he can't go back and claim the fifth. If they get him up on the stand, he can't claim the fifth at all. It has to either be yes or no, or he just doesn't answer. So it's kind of getting weird, but we still got 2 months before January 20th, you know. So they're still pulling a lot of shenanigans and all that stuff down there in North Carolina. That's about to piss me off, boy. Them people down there freezing to death, and they're taking those people's down there at Chimney Rock. They're taking those people's land, and they don't want to give it up, and they don't want to leave their land, and they're down there leaving it, sleeping in tents and freezing to death because they don't want to leave their land because the government will steal it from them. It's a bunch of crap, man. I don't know. It's so.
Well, they changed the floodplain now. You know, I mean, I can see where, like, if it were me, I wouldn't build right back in the same place where that thing that could flood again. I mean, yeah, they call it a 100-year floodplain or 200-year event or whatever, but what's to say it won't happen again next year, you know? I mean, or 5 years or 10 years. So, but it still should be your land. And, you know, if you want to build something on stilts or whatever you want to do, but they're not letting them build tiny houses on there because they can't get any taxes out of it. And they want to get people are going up there and they're trying to offer them money for their land for pennies on the dollar. But those people, they don't have anywhere to go. And I saw a video today where it's actually been snowing up there a little bit, and it's cold as hell. And I was wanting to go up there and take some, you know, some donations and things, but I've been down with the funk, and I'm watching the weather. And I damn sure don't want to go up there and get stuck in some kind of a blizzard up there or whatever. So as soon as it breaks, I'm gonna head up there with all those goodies and drop them off. It ain't like I have a whole lot of stuff, but I also want to videotape and get it right from the horse's mouth out of some people, you know, and ask them some questions and see what they say. So I'm still working on that. There's a lot of videos on YouTube of people that have testimonies of what they went through and what's going on and what they're trying to do to them and how they just lost their family members and never found them, and they just plowed them over and in the dirt with heavy equipment and just redid the road, you know, and they had cadaver dogs hitting in certain areas, and they, you know, it's just sad if you think about it. You know, your family members just gone. You don't know where they are, you know, and nobody's helping you.
Well, they're still only claiming there's 200 people missing or dead. And I just saw some things today. They said the morgues are full, and there's tractor trailers that are just full of body bags. People stuffed in there with body bags. It's just, there's thousands of people that are dead down there, and the government's covering it up.
They don't want to look bad. They just don't want to look bad.
And they're covering up that thing in Lahaina too, in Hawaii.
Yeah, we have a evil government. You know,
it's an evil. It's been going on for well, in my opinion, it's been going on since the same people are doing this now are the same people that manipulated the Roman Empire and the Greeks, and those Rothschilds or whoever I don't know. This world, it's not being run by humans, I don't think, anymore. I don't know.
It's like living in a bad dream, you know. It's like Oliver Anthony says, you just want to wake up and think it's not true, but it is. Oh, it is.
There's something going on that's very conspicuous with the whole situation. I don't know what it is. You know, I've been lied to my whole life, just like everybody.
Yeah, we didn't know that though.
And I never really paid attention to anything. I didn't know whether I was a Republican or a Democrat, and didn't really give a shit, you know, until that Obama started running around wanting to be a socialist, and after being in Europe and stuff, I knew wanted no part of being a socialist. So that was the first elections I ever voted in, was against Obama twice.
Well, you don't want to be a liberal. You know what you are now. You damn sure know what you are now.
I'm not a Republican either. They're a bunch.
Well, they're
of
crooked
shit.
too.
They're a bunch of shit too. The whole system's shit. The whole system stinks to holy hell, man. I mean, it just needs to be, the whole damn flat Earth needs to be replaced by
it's
a new system. But it ain't gonna happen with all you goddamn fat freaking sheep out there just going bah bah. Feed me that poison, bah. Let me get fat and eat your phony pharmaceuticals, and I'll just be a fat sheep. Bah. God, you people make me sick. Enough to gag a maggot in a gut factory.
I saw some comments on there. You got some people hopped up in the comments.
Oh,
one guy was talking.
Freak them fat fucks, man.
They're backing you up. They're on the Craig fat shaming plan.
Damn. The only reason they're bitching is because they're fat. The people are bitching. We don't need all this obese stuff. And them people are the ones that they're so fucking fat, they don't even have a profile picture. They're too ashamed of themselves to put up a profile picture.
No, they do. They just turn it into a cartoon.
You know, it's sickening, man. I mean, obesity is not normal, you people. Wake up.
Oh. Yeah, and
I was obese. I mean, don't look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. I was obese and I was disgusted with myself. Totally disgusted.
Not until somebody told you were fat. You didn't even know.
Whatever. But I turned my shit around and lost all that stupid ass, worthless, freaking fat. You know, it's bull. If anybody wants to run around being a fat lard ass their whole life, you're stupid. I'm sorry, but you're freaking stupid.
What do you mean, like if you're grossly obese or just...
Well, even fat. There's no reason to even have your belly hanging over your damn... You know, it's just all that, you know, hold your arms up and your damn...
Well, if you ride a Harley...
Shit's freaking ugly, and oh, God.
If you ride a Harley, though, it's okay because you're just big. You're just a big guy.
I remember when I was fat and I rode my bike, I could feel my cheeks going. Oh my God!
You see that guy on Facebook? He's huge, man. He just must weigh 700 pounds, and he's riding that Harley. People are pulling up beside him, and he's shooting them birds because they're laughing at him. But he probably got on that whole program where if he just got a Harley, he would consider he's just a big guy. Because if you're a Harley rider and you're fat, and then as soon as you sit on that Harley, you're just a big guy, you know. So that's why they do it.
And I feel sorry for you guys that ride those Harleys with your big old fat girlfriend sitting on the back. I wouldn't want to hold that thing up. You
can't. I mean, yeah. Not to mention, it's embarrassing.
Oh my God!
And that thing, you can hear it. You know, I mean, that's you almost need a Harley because it's got a low torque on it. You know, when you're going up the hill, it's chugging like a tractor. You know, chuk 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 up the hill. You know, with that big old.
They got that woman on the back of that Harley, and that's all you can see is that big old fat ass.
And if they had a wreck, it would look like some kind of a slaughter in the road. The road rash would be immense. Oh well, we're getting off on a fat tangent here. So, you remember that guy Craig Robert Core who said he had a video of, we call it, Gene calls old Donnie Van Zant Fig Newton. Remember Gene said, "Who, old Fig Newton?" And I said, "What?" I said, "What does that mean, Gene?" "Yeah, oh yeah, he loves to eat those Fig Newtons, so we call him Fig Newton." And then so old Robert Core, he's been looking for that video of Donnie flying out over the crowd, and he finally found it and sent it to me. So we're gonna play that at the end of the podcast. Old Fig Newton flying out over the crowd, and it's hilarious, man, because people are throwing shit at him, and he's doing jumping jacks and all kinds of stuff, and it's hilarious, you know. I mean, they're all out there, you know, Carlisi's out there playing and they're all jamming and everything, and old Donnie's out there flying around like Peter Pan over the crowd. and even the cameraman got some good shots because he was flying around with his camera too. So it's
that's in the later years when Larry Junstrom was with them, I believe, because somebody posted a picture today when Ken Lyons was with him. Somebody asked one time when Ken was with 38. I said, I don't think Ken was ever with 38. I remember him being with Slowpoke and Running Easy. But yeah, somebody posted a picture of Ken with 38.
Well, he started it. He's the one.
Yeah,
that started
he started with him. I don't remember that.
I didn't either, but you know, Joe Crimp's the one that's told me about it.
I only remember
was,
Larry Johnston being with 38
because he was in Joe's band. But yeah, and then there's another video that I keep seeing it, and every time I see it, I just laugh my ass off because it's Gene Odom, and he's just like Gene's on like some kind of a rant, you know, and this guy, it's a horrible recording, so I'm gonna put it on there, but his voice doesn't match with his mouth. It's so old and it's just so grainy, but you have to, I would suggest if you can, you got to turn it up. I'll try to do something with it in the editing, but there's not much you can do. And it's first impressions of the band members, and Gene's he's just slaying every one of them, man. He's just being mean as shit. It's just like, so if you watch that and then you go to the podcast 197, when I was over at Gene's, and it's 197. I went through the whole thing with Gene again, and it's part 1 through 4, and Gene goes over them, all the band members again, and his opinion of them. He's a lot nicer in on the road with Griff Martin in that video. So I would suggest to watch this one here at the end, and then go watch that one because Gene's got a lot calmer. But oh my God, he's just roasting everybody, man. He's roasting the hell out of Gary. He wasn't being mean.
He's just being truthful.
He was being truthful, but
in his opinion, that's just the way he perceived those guys. You know, he wasn't nothing mean. He wasn't being mean, and in his perception of those people, that's the way he saw them.
Yeah, looking at him from a non-drug addict person, like, you know, like he says, he says, Ed King was the biggest drug addict in the band. You know, he's like, you know, he's just not holding back, you know, and he's really roasting Gary.
Well, it's like what he says about me. He says, I got blood in my THC or whatever.
Yeah, you got blood in your TCH. He's the one that came up with that. Somebody in the comments said, Griff, it's not blood in your TCH, it's THC in your blood. No. Gene's the one that came up with the blood in your TCH.
He gets it backwards, huh?
Yeah, because Gene's not a pot smoker. He don't know what, he just, all he knows is there's a bunch of idiots going around doing stupid shit, and he don't agree with it. That's what it is. And, Gene's a matter-of-fact guy. If he don't like something, and I dare you to be around him, if somebody comes around doing something stupid, even if they're big enough to snap your neck, he'll say it. He'll say it to their face, and you got to kind of look around, see where your exit plan is, because he's but it's funny as hell, and I think that's why Ronnie liked him so much, because he was just funny as hell. And he used to make Ronnie laugh his ass off, because I remember when we were at that restaurant and that guy, you know, asked Gene, he goes, "Hey man, I'd like to get one of those shirts." And Gene said, "I don't have your size." "Are you saying I'm fat?" "No, man, you're the one who said you're fat. I've just told you, I don't, and I was like, and then I told Gene, he goes, "Yeah, that's what Ronnie used to like whenever I'd say stuff like that." So, yeah, so you guys stick around for Fig Newton, Donnie Van Zant flying around over the crowd, and then we'll put Gene on right after that, and that'll be the at the end of the podcast. So stick around for that. Anything to talk about? Didn't you want to talk about something Cousin Figel had in a box of stuff that he sent you, Craig?
Yeah, let me clear the screen out here so I can see what I'm doing. He sent me a boxes full of stuff a while back, and it was so much stuff, it was just overwhelming. And one thing in particular that they had was pretty cool, was all that Freebird Foundation literature that was circulating back when they had the Freebird, the cafe and all that, Freebird Foundation, and they were trying to put that park together and all that stuff. They had they put out a booklet every, I don't know how often, but I got a stack of them damn things, and it tells about all the foundation stuff, and I didn't think it'd be a good idea to break up the collection, because that's a whole collection. So I thought, somebody'd like to have that as a collection instead of breaking it up. So yeah, Cousin Figel reminded me that I had it, but like y'all know, I'm way behind.
Yeah, I don't really want to break your stride on trying to get the so Cousin Figel, let's let Craig get these mailers, these contestants out of the way before we start jumping into that box. We don't want to. I told him I'd ask you about it, but we really
I told him I would get into it. But talking about Cousin Figel, he sent me another wazoo, a trumpet wazoo. Yeah, it's another toy. But anyways, Warren Henbury. Yeah, I mentioned last podcast, I think I mentioned that somebody had outbid you on the camera deal we got going here. This Osmos Pocket 3. It's a $700 plus unit with tax on it and everything. And we're auctioning it off for the survivors, and Robert Wheatley is kind of furnishing these to us to auction off for the survivors. So yeah, we'd like to get 300 plus for this, because it's, we let the last one go for 175, but it was an Osmos 2, and it wasn't this whole package that included the carrying case and extra batteries and a tripod. There's all kind of stuff in here. This is the whole package, so
yeah, it's the
Warren,
latest and greatest.
Yeah, Warren Henbury said he'd bumped the bidding up to 250. So so we're gonna
look it up. Look it up and see. Go and I'm sure YouTube probably has a video about how it works, and a lot of the videos that you're seeing on YouTube are recorded by those type cameras, because they have remote mics and things, and it's the new latest greatest thing.
Yeah, if you want to be cool like all the hosts and co-hosts of the Stone Roadie show, you got to get you one.
All the podcasters. Yeah.
Me and Griff and Kathy Gonti all have them.
Yeah, I gotta learn
Robert
mine.
Wheatley.
Yeah, Robert, I'm gonna give you a call because I sent Robert something in the mail. I don't know if he got it or not. I've been so down and out with the funk here. I hadn't even had a chance to call him and go over this stuff I sent him, and he probably opened it and probably goes, "What the hell is this?"
I still ain't sent him nothing yet. I promised to send him a whole bunch of stuff, and he sent me God, he sent me thousands of dollars worth of stuff, them drones,
Yeah, the drone
goggles, and his camera and all this stuff. I said, I'm gonna send you some stuff too, but I still
Well,
haven't done it.
that thing
But
I
I'll
sent
do it.
him it's a one of a kind, and hardly too many people got that. I gave Craig the same thing, but I'm gonna have to go over it with you, Robert, and show you what it is, tell you what it is. But we got we got some comments and stuff. Let me see here. Oh yeah, the other thing too is send Craig your email, your contact information, and what winner you were, just so he can make sure he's got you. And
Oh
copy
yeah,
me.
and what I thought about this today. Remind me what color kazoo you want too, because I had that all written down. Because everybody gets a kazoo and tell me what color you want, and I suppose everybody wants me to sign them. You know, I hadn't had anybody that didn't want me to sign them, but just tell me what color you wanted.
Yeah, send Craig an email, remind him what winner number you were and who you are, and then copy me too to
Yeah.
edwg59@gmail.com. I'll try to remember to
Yeah,
put
I
it
don't
up
want to
here.
get, once I get really rolling on this, I don't want to have to stop and go, oh, darn, I got run into
Yeah.
a tangle. I just want to
There
get
might be some
rolling and
people
do
that have
it. I can get
unsubscribed.
it done and out real quick once I get it all to get back together. I got all my notes and stuff. I got mostly everything together.
Well,
But,
the one guy called you a liar, and now he disappeared.
well, I am a liar. He's right.
So-
I am a liar. At least I'm not a fat bastard liar, though. A stupid
Yeah.
damn sheep, fat bastard liar. Damn
Uh,
sheep slaves eating all that garbage, not even looking at the labels. You just eat it.
that last video at the end of the Larry Tate, Larry the disciple, Dave the disciple, Patricia Lynn commented on it. She says, "Was that a monument at the hospital there?" She said, "I couldn't hardly read it or tell what it was." Yes, they did. They put a plaque up there at the hospital for the, I don't remember what it said. I don't even know if you could pause that video and read that, but yeah, they put a little, you remember that? We went,
Yeah, I went up there and looked at it. I kind of had a hard time finding it, and I asked the security guy, and he didn't even know where it was. I said,
it's
"Hey,
right by
where's
the
that Lynyrd
emergency
Skynyrd
room.
pack?" He said, "I don't know."
Isn't it up
And
by
then
the
it's
emergency
right
room?
out in front of the hospital. It's like
Yeah.
right out in front of right where the emergency thing is.
Right.
It's out front of the hospital, right on the street. It's where it is.
Yeah, that put Galesburg on the map. You know, they weren't anything until Lynyrd Skynyrd crashed there, and now they're, you know, a metropolis, a bustling metropolis. They get more visitors at that monument every year. More and more people flying in from overseas, and if you just sit there and people start walking, I like to be out there with Gene because they'll be looking around at all the carvings and the etchings, and they'll be reading it, you know, and then you'll hear somebody go, "There's one of the plane crash survivors over there," and then you see them, and they look over at Gene, and then Gene will be looking at me, and then they'll be kind of creeping over there towards Gene so they can get a look at him, you know, and then Gene will say something like, "Go ahead, ask me anything you want. I don't care," you know, and then they'll start asking Gene questions, and if you run into Gene or Mark Frank or you know, even Dwayne, because he was pulling people out of the plane. You know, when they're there, how cool is that? that you can go to the monument and talk to somebody that was on the plane that crashed there. You get lucky because he's there quite a bit because he sells shirts and things. So just to hear these people asking Gene questions and and just they're able to talk to somebody that was on the plane. It's almost like they hit the lottery.
Well, that's like you were saying the other day about taking your guitar to Gruen's, and I said, let me call down there, and I bet I get a better deal on it. And that's just it's just
Yeah.
It's just
a French
natural
benefit.
that anybody that was on that, especially the guitar roadie for Lynyrd Skynyrd calling,
Yeah.
wanting to get a guitar fixed, they're naturally going to get a better deal.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
So,
Say, oh yeah, they might even maybe they do it for free.
yeah, you never know.
Yeah, that would be
never
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take some really good pictures of it, but I don't want to mess with you until you get those things sent out, Craig. I don't want to. I don't want to distract you. I'm gonna wait, so you guys don't worry. I'm not gonna distract. He's got too much going on right now as it is. So that heater breaking in his house probably set him back 5 days.
I got that fixed. Yeah.
So Patricia Lynn, there is a little plaque there at the emergency room entrance there at the Gillsburg Hospital. And there,
Lynn Crumby, she donated that $40 for Gene, and she asked me to do her a little favor and copy something for her and send it back to her. And so I kind of put that in front of that thing too, and getting that got that all ready to ship out to her tomorrow. I just wanted to know if she wanted me to sign it. I had to pause and write her back and say, hey, do you want me to pause it? The Stoned Roadie Craig Reed or just Craig Reed? She goes, oh no, you got to put on there the Stoned Roadie Craig Reed.
well, if she was a winner, I don't know if she was a winner.
No. This is something.
I know, but
have something that no, she's not a winner.
Oh, she's not. I say because if she is, you could say.
No, she sent me a couple of things just off the cuff in the last what, but yeah. She sent me a self-addressed return envelope and everything. I mean, all I got to do is put a couple of copy something and sign it and put it in there. So it didn't take any time at all.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. She's been watching for so long. She's an avid watcher, and we appreciate those people.
Oh yeah, so. She sent me those Trump shot glasses. So I don't drink very often, but when I do drink, I always drink out of those Trump shot glasses.
Then we got a question. We didn't get any questions, but Linda J. LaCava asked, Craig, we all have heard that Ronnie said he would not live past the age of 30. And she basically wants to know, did he kind of ever mention that to you? Craig?
God, yeah. I heard him say. I heard him say that a dozen times.
Yeah,
maybe not a dozen, but awful close.
What would bring it up though? Would he be just like, I mean, what?
Just I don't know. He Brian liked to talk. I mean, he would get in a room full of people, and he liked to talk. And he goes, I don't really plan on living much past 30, or I don't plan on seeing my 30th birthday or something. So,
Damn.
Just something like that. But he said it a bunch of times. He'd be talking to me. I don't plan on seeing my 30th birthday, so
just kind of throwing it in there.
Get it out there while the getting's good. I don't plan on seeing my 30th birthday. Yeah, I heard him say it, just off the cuff like that a bunch of times.
Well, his brothers have hung around.
Yeah, like Artimus said, just like Artimus says, he said it all the time. It wasn't just something he said once. He said it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go, Linda. Yeah, many people have heard him say it. I think even Leslie told me that she remembers him saying it too. I don't know of too many people that I've met that knew him that didn't agree with that for sure.
But I was talking about all the people that wouldn't have made it without Ronnie, and it got me to thinking about Steve, because I never really knew that Steve had kind of like record deals in the making. And I'm kind of thinking, that if Steve wouldn't have ran in with Lynyrd Skynyrd, that he'd still be doing it.
Yeah, I think he would definitely.
I think he would have actually made it. Because he was in a different type of genre, that I guess you would call it, than anybody else was, and he already had something going on. I think he would have made it, and I think he'd still be around and doing it, and so would Cassie. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, he had a lot of connections up there in Oklahoma. There were a lot of famous
he'd been
people up there.
he'd been working in Detroit and did all kind of stuff, and I didn't realize.
And probably Crawdad would have, because they had some great songs, Who
they
knows?
did. Yeah.
Hard to say, but it's a very sad situation that, and him and his sister.
There was a lot of people that kind of took hold right after Skynyrd perished. A lot of people kind of took a hold, with new type of stuff like Stevie Ray and,
Yeah, those planes, man. There's just so many people crashing in the planes. Look at Bill Graham. That was a helicopter, but just lost a lot of people in plane crashes. It's amazing though that the amount of people survived in that Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah, that was when I saw where we crashed, and then kind of that guy said it was amazing to see anyone was alive.
It's crumpled up and everything.
That one rescuer said, "I didn't expect to see anyone alive. It was just looked like a disaster area, And he said it's amazing anybody was alive, especially so many."
And people think that when a plane, like if it would have made it to the clearing, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of plane crashes when they get into a clearing like that, and it's on like in a pasture or something, that they usually end up cartwheeling, and it's just, a longer drawn out thing. Those trees kind of probably slowed you guys down, but then there was no fuel on there either, and that was the big thing. But to me, the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash is the most famous rock and roll plane crash in history, in my opinion, because so many people lived, and and it was just a really just an amazing story behind the whole thing. The guys came up from nowhere and rags to riches, got in a plane crash, and it's just it's an amazing story, and that's why there's so many people that follow Lynyrd Skynyrd still. It's just hard to believe everybody's gone but Artimus, And then, of course, the roadie, Craig Weed. Scooter Weed, speaking of weed, says, Craig, it sucks that you have no heat in your house, which now you fixed it. And he says his blower motor went out in his car, and he's been driving around in 25 and 30-degree weather. You said there were people stranded for 12 hours up there. And
oh, yeah, just north of me. That was a lake effect thing that was going on up in Lake Erie. And it just didn't come this far south. And there's just 50 miles north of me, they had 4 foot of snow. I mean, up in Pennsylvania Turnpike and across there, it was... it was treacherous up there.
I've been stuck on the freeway or the interstate in snow before, and that isn't fun. You just sit there waiting on the snow plow to come, It's just...
I got my John Deere Gator stolen, and that was my snow plow machine, but I still got my Ford tractor with a blade on it, so I fired it up the other day and got it ready. I'm
Yeah,
ready
it's
for it. But
coming,
we haven't really had any snow.
but you don't usually get it
My
by
car's
now.
got 4-wheel drive. I don't really care to see anybody in. I'm not. I don't. I don't have any trouble getting in and out, and I don't really care if anybody comes to see me anymore. Anyways.
I didn't know your car was 4-wheel drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those Lexus 350s are all 4-wheel drive.
Cool. And then a lot of people are sending me home remedies, telling me, Griff, get some garlic and vitamin D. And yeah, sometimes those home remedies will screw you up, man. You just mess your stomach up. And I'm just kind of like trying to get plenty of rest and, taking zinc and things like that and eating good and just not going out fishing in a blizzard on the lake. Yeah, so I appreciate all the well wishes. I'm still jacked up with it, but you can't be a sissy.
They call that holistic medicine or holistic.
Right.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's well, don't eat the poison. Stay away from the poison.
That's what the Amish use, that kind of stuff, I think.
Well, it is. There are some really good home remedies that you can use to combat it, like natural antibiotics and things.
They're saying a lot of the spices that you buy at like a dollar store or whatever have got a lot of metal stuff. It's really weird. A lot of the stuff that you buy in powder form and stuff, you run a magnet across it and you're picking up metal shavings.
Oh yeah, I saw a thing on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it was, that they say that all these injections that they shoot into your gum when they're going to do work in your teeth has got that graphene oxide in it. And over in these other countries, they've got this procedure where they run a magnet over the syringe and they get it all down to one end and they shoot it out of there. So they're putting that graphene oxide in stuff like that now.
Well, all this stuff about the fluoride, fluorine in your water, I guess that was a byproduct of something, and they needed to find a way to get rid of it, so they started putting it in our water and telling us it was good for our teeth. Yeah, we'll just put it in their water and tell them it's good for their teeth. Ha ha! Them stupid freaking sheep won't know any better. They're all a bunch of fat idiots. Let's just make them fat and let them just waller around, and then we'll just laugh at them. Ha ha ha!
What are you supposed to swish around every time you take a drink of water, or is it get in your bloodstream? You get fluoride in your bloodstream? I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I don't want any fluoride in my water.
I got this different kind of toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it. But there's another something, it's got 3 letters. It's supposed to be something that's good for your teeth. I don't know what it is. But they say just baking soda and hydrogen peroxide.
And make a paste out of it.
That's the best thing. Guy said he hadn't brushed his teeth in 8 years. He just washes with hydrogen peroxide. But you gotta floss your teeth.
Yeah, you gotta.
If I don't floss I get gingivitis or whatever that stuff.
Oh yeah, you gotta floss.
Yeah.
Because you get hunks of food stuck in there, and then your mouth starts smelling.
Well, your gums grow to your tooth, and then when you do floss, your gums bleed or whatever. Your gum attaches to your.
Yeah. Well, my father invented floss. That cellophane, that little thing when you open your Marlboro Reds and you pull that thing off. He used to floss with that.
Oh yeah.
That was what he flossed with. Yeah, I used to see him over there. He'd open a pack of cigarettes and then he would floss with that damn little strip, that gold strip that you pull off of the cigarette pack. He'd get pissed off. He'd send me down to the store, for some Marlboro Reds, and sometimes they wouldn't have the hard box. It would be the soft pack. I don't know what the hell's the difference, but he is get pissed off if I came back with a soft pack, and
Well, they
hell,
crush in your pocket, the soft pack, though.
yeah, because he was a worker, and
Yeah, you need the hard pack.
but
I would smoke the Marlboro Reds with the hard pack. Yeah.
when I was a kid, though, I was
then
like,
you could put to see the hard pack. You could put your gram of cocaine in there with your cigarettes, and then you could just pop it out and find it.
you know what?
I saw something today where they used to take a fresh pack of cigarettes and they take one and turn it upside down. They said that was the lucky cigarette or something like that. I remember when people used to take one cigarette in their pack and turn it upside down with one that was a filters. They'd turn one upside down so the tobacco end was sticking up instead of the filter end. They said that was the lucky one or something.
I had this
like that.
I had this black friend that worked with me at the aircraft plant, and he would open his soft pack on the other end, not the end that you're supposed to open it on. And I go, how come you do that? And he goes, man, because when the brothers come up and want to bum a cigarette, I go, man, I ain't opened that pack yet, man. I ain't saved it.
That's a good trick, huh?
Yeah. 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 And so,
That's a fresh pack. I ain't opened that pack yet.
yeah,
That's
man, it's a
Tomah's
fresh pack, man. I ain't saving it, man.
That's
I ain't opening it
Tomah's
yet.
pack. That's a good trick. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing that the black guys would do, they'd come up and they'd go, hey, man, you got a solid quarter? And I'd say, a what? A solid quarter. And I'd say, what's a solid quarter? Man, you don't know shit. That means that's just a one coin. It ain't 2 dimes and a nickel. It's a solid quarter.
Solid quarter. Oh, yeah. Not
Yeah.
2 dimes and a nickel, just a quarter.
But a lot of things they say make sense. Like they don't watch TV, they look at TV. They say, man, I don't watch TV. Hell, I watch my kids. I look at TV. And then they don't live anywhere. That's where they stay.
Yeah.
They go, man, I stay over there on 10th Street. And I say, how come y'all don't say that's where you live? Man, hell, I'm living right here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they do make sense, when it comes to, they think that we're stupid. Because if you think about it, it's stupid the way we say things. We're watching TV. Man, you don't watch TV, you look at it. Then Brian Gibbons, he says, Craig, we jigger fish up here in Tennessee, but we don't call it jigger fishing. We call it jigging.
Jigging.
It's the same thing,
Go jigging, yeah.
Jigger's just a redneck Florida thing, man. You're just changing it,
Jigging.
you just, hey, when we're jigger fishing, well, it's jigging up there. Yeah, which, that's what a jig is. Like usually when you saltwater fish, you use a jig, and it's like a rubber, artificial lure with a lead head on it, with a hook on it, and you just kind of jig it. And that's how we used to catch trout. But, I've never done that. I've basically jigged for, crappie, and speck, but I've never done the thing with the cane pole. But I can't wait to. Gene and I are going to do that, so stand by whenever the weather gets better, and we're going to go out there and see if we can't. I want to get Gene to catch him a fish, and then fillet him up and let him take some home because he came fishing over this pond over there by my house when I lived in Cocoa, and he caught 100 pounds worth of catfish and perch, and he took my cooler, and I never saw the cooler again, but he had a good old time, and he had a big old fish fry off all those fish. I bet he was cleaning those fish for 2 days. They were big channel cats, and perch. But, yeah, Gene loves it. And I even have some video of that, of him doing that. I don't know if I might have shared it on the podcast before.
Yeah, you asked me if me and Ronnie ever caught any fish while he was teaching me how to jigger fish. I said,
Yeah.
no, I don't think and remember that we ever did. And then you said, Gene said that you do it at nighttime.
Yeah, that's what Gene says. It's the best time. I mean,
Hey,
you can
Brian, do you
it.
jigger fish? Do you jig fish up in Tennessee at nighttime or in the daytime?
Yeah, it's probably you can do it anytime, but I think you're more successful at night, according to Gene.
And do you lay your bait up on the top of that lily pad? You guys don't have lily pads, and you got lily pads in North Carolina.
Oh, they got lily pads everywhere, man. I think, yeah.
That thing up.
I
there on
haven't
top
done
of that
any
lily
fishing
pad.
like, I've never caught like a spring trout, anything like that. Yeah, I've never. I wouldn't mind doing that, but I don't know anything about how that works. I always wanted to like go up to Alaska and then fly in on some like little plane somewhere and then go fly fishing and catch a big old steelhead or something like that. It's kind of like a one of those bucket list things I wouldn't mind doing, but I'll probably never get around to it.
The only trout I ever caught, me and John Coulter. He called me today too. John, yeah, I worked with him with Marshall Tucker, and he knew some guy that lived in Oregon, and he lived on this government land, and he had lived out on the side of a mountain, and he took this machine, and it was a spring-fed spring that was come down the mountain, and he dug him a little containing pond right behind his house, and he'd go up the road and catch rainbow trout and bring them home and put them in that containment pond. And we were sitting back there on his back porch, and the water was just crystal clear. It was spring water. And we're watching all them trout swimming around in that little pond. I'm going, man, that is so cool. Do you ever catch any of them and eat them? And he goes, yeah, I'm fixing to catch one here in a minute. And so, yeah, we fished and caught.
What did you use to fish with? What kind of bait?
I don't even remember now. I just remember how he cooked it. He just wrapped it in tinfoil and put it on the fire. And that spring water there in Oregon, it come down out of the mountains. It was real cold water, and that cold water and those trout, it made that meat on this fish really firm. It wasn't all mushy. God, that was freaking good, man.
I tell you what, Cracker Barrel. I don't know if they raise those in like a toxic pond or not, but they have a good fresh water trout at the Cracker Barrel. I used to like to go there. I like to go to the Cracker Barrel, in the wintertime when they got that fire going, and then go get me a damn trout out of there, man. It kind of like that's my Florida fireplace experience for the year is at the Cracker Barrel, because I don't have nobody has fireplaces in Florida. So
yeah, you mentioned the other day I could light my fireplace, and I haven't lit that. I got 2 fireplaces. I haven't lit those things for.
Yeah, I remember seeing that fireplace. I don't remember
got 2
seeing
fireplaces.
2 of them.
I got inserts in and everything. I haven't had a fire for.
Where's the other one? There's one in the living room. But
There's one upstairs in the living room up here, and there's one downstairs too. And I haven't lit I haven't lit that one in the bait downstairs in at least 10 years.
hell, you probably
The one
need to
up
get
here,
the,
I haven't had a fire up here in 5. I got plenty of wood. Shit, I got all kind of firewood.
Wouldn't you have to get it cleaned out? The chimney.
No,
cleaned out?
it's all cleaned out. Hell, I got the guy that owns the fireplace cleaning Top Hat Chimney Suites. I've got his sign.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In my front yard, I get my chimney swept out anytime I want for free. he takes care of my chimneys. I don't even use my fireplace anymore.
Well, you ought to get some logs and throw in there,
It's
man.
just a
Shit.
pain in the ass. I just rather turn the furnace on, and hell, I got that electric heater when the furnace went out. I just plugged that heater in. Hell, it kept at 66, 65, 66 in here. I just wore a coat.
Well, whenever the grid goes down, at least you'll be ready to go.
Give me a little preparation, you know. I was surprised that electric heater, you know, kept it warm. But if I used that electric heater, I'd have to use my big generator. It wouldn't. My little one wouldn't run that.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the problem up there up north is, at least down here, you know, you'll be hot, but you can live being hot. You can't live freezing your ass off. You'll die if you get too cold. You don't die if you get too hot. You know, you might sweat like a pig, but up there you'll freeze to death. So, you know, you had to go outside and get ate by mosquitoes and sweat my ass off, but I won't die.
But as I got older, as I got old, man, I don't like the cold, man. I go outside and my if I'm not dressed for it, my joints just freeze up. My legs quit working, man. It's like eating them damn brownies, man. My legs quit working.
Just think if you ate the brownies and got cold.
Oh God, yeah, my joints just freeze up, man. I get stiff like it is. Crazy.
Yeah, that cold, that does, man. It chills you to the bone.
I got to wear a real long coat.
Reverend Randall, remember we were talking about the tunnels? Well, Reverend Randall says most tunnels were made and used for municipal utility access. Some were sealed, some not. I think they probably turned those tunnels into little child rings where they're, you know, I think that's what I've heard, that, you know, they're trafficking children in those tunnels and things. There's all kinds of people that talk about that. And when you start hearing it so much, it's got to be something to it. You know, it's just too many people talking about it for not there to be tunnels everywhere underneath. And they're all over the whole world. They're in other countries or here. I think there's tunnel networks underneath not here in Florida probably as much, but up there where you live, Craig, you might have, you know, tunnels up there.
Seems like human trafficking is a pretty prosperous
very profitable
venture in the demonic form of life or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that's what, you know, and where all these children go, they go missing.
There's 3,500 kids that came up from Honduras, from whatever.
I thought it was 35,000
that are freaking missing. 3,500 kids are freaking missing. What happened to all those kids that Oprah took over to freaking Honduras or whatever, and nobody knows what happened to that plane either.
I thought it was 35,000.
Oh, it's 30. Yeah, 30. I don't know. Yeah, 35,000.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
And they get, there's like 100,000 a year go missing just every year. Nobody talks about it. I don't get it, man. It's like nobody wants to talk about it because people, you know, they're the evil doers. You know, they don't want to lose their money, their profit off of it, which is just the most horrible thing that you can imagine that they're doing. And that's what these, you know, and of course these liberals are all part of it. And then these people that vote for it, they don't even believe it. But, yeah, so
did you see that billionaire that owns the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a kind of a dorky looking.
Yeah,
guy.
I know,
His haircut. He's 69. He's got a pretty good looking 23-year-old girlfriend.
Of course he does.
26-year-old girlfriend, and he's a billionaire. He goes, she don't know I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, right. Just like Bill Gates. Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't live with me because I'm a billionaire. Yeah, whatever.
But that Sean Penn, he was out on some kind of red carpet or something, and he's 69. He's got a 30-year-old girlfriend, and they were saying he looks freaking ridiculous.
Oh, I know. God, he looks. Yeah,
And
he looks pretty rough.
she's not very attractive. I don't think she's very attractive at all.
Well, he isn't either. So.
But
looks like
Sean
an old-
Penn, that one woman that he was going through all that court stuff, she wasn't too bad looking. But this one, I don't think she's very attractive at all. Of course, she's got black hair. I don't like women with black hair.
Yeah, well, a lot of women, you know, when they get older and they have black hair, they have to dye it and they have to keep dyeing it. It's just easier for these ladies with blonde hair when it goes gray. It just, you know, there's no, it's not a contrast. You know?
Well, you know what? Confucius, the girl with blonde hair have black hair by cracky.
Oh God. Well, that's all the comments and questions there, Craig. And you guys send some questions for the roadie, man. Send some Lynyrd Skynyrd questions so we can, you know, get back into some skin information. Or I'm going to have to start going back. I was looking back at the comments from like podcast 8 and 9, and I was noticing old Crazy Bob and Brian Gibbons and Kimmy and Patricia Lynn and Angela Leonard and Rock On and Cheesehead and Joe Mueller. Those guys were all commenting back then, and we weren't, you know, even going over comments or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going back and looking at all those old podcasts. And whenever we get like a lull in the questions and the skin information, I'll start drawing out of the old podcasts that from the early days. And, you know, and even Kimmy, Crazy Kimmy, man, she was around from day one, you know, good old Crazy Kimmy. So yeah, you guys, we appreciate you sticking with us. And it's almost, what is it now, Craig? What podcast is this?
The next one will be 255. I can't believe that. We've done 255 podcasts. That's just
crazy.
I didn't think we'd ever get to 50. That's just crazy.
Yeah, and you know, and the subscribers, I haven't even looked at what the subscriptions are, but they're not moving a lot. So you guys make sure you like and subscribe. Go out of your way to do that for us, because you know, that helps us out. And
well, we've gotten monetized here for the last half a dozen or so. We've gotten monetized.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but we're getting monetized, and you know, I didn't know if it was because of my peace pipe or what was going on, but we're going, what's happening? Because then we were trying to figure out, was it political stuff we were saying?
I don't know. Let's see what happens on this.
And
one.
then, you know, and then I didn't know if it was my pipe I was smoking, and then started smoking the peace pipe, and that went away. I don't know what it was, but yeah, but we're still not, you know, tearing it up.
No.
With what they pay us. They keep dropping our subscriptions, so they don't have to pay us, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, nobody unsubscribes. You know, they just don't. You know, I don't
That's
know.
weird.
Anybody.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
take them away. Yeah, so
yeah, you're not supposed to. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Once you subscribe, it's supposed to be up to you to unsubscribe. I've never.
I know. I don't know.
I've subscribed to things, but I've never unsubscribed to anything.
Yeah, because you just get a little notification, like when the Stone Roadie show's coming on, you'll see a notification. It might make a little bling or whatever, but you know, you'll see it why would you want to unsubscribe unless you're pissed off because Craig didn't send your prize? That's the only thing I could think of.
And hey, Dave, do you want me to send you my my copy, my designs, my Stone Roadie t-shirts design? You can just kind of go off those or whatever, make your own. He said he was gonna.
Yeah, he's going to make those. And there's people been asking me, because I've got that merch page on the Griff Martin files. And Dave, send me, you know, a Stone Roadie shirt, and I'll put a merch page, whatever.
Well,
Like if you want to make some stuff, and I'll put it on there on the merch page, and people go to look at the video, and then they can, and when they email me, I'll hook them up with how to get it from you. So, yeah,
that was what I was wondering, if he wanted me to use one of the designs that I have, like the Stone Roadie sitting on the.
I've got one. I've got a shirt.
Stone Roadie sitting on the road case, with the moonshine jug.
I've got that shirt. I'll try to remember to pull it down and show it on the next podcast so Dave can see it. And it's cool. It's a great shirt. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it looks
shirt.
cool. Was it Stone Roadie sitting on that work case with the moonshine jug, and I've got it right there. I just can't reach it.
Yeah, you guys stick around for these 2 short little videos with Big Newton, Donnie Van Zant, 38 Special flying over the crowd, and then Angry Gene. Matter of fact, Gene, and listen real close because it's and the mouth doesn't match up with the voice. He's just kind of like, moving his mouth, and it's not in sync with it. So that's nothing that we can help. But it's funny as hell. And then we ought to get some good comments and questions off of that. So.
And he's not being mean. He's just saying the way he looks at it. Oh, that pothead,
I think it's hilarious.
He's a drug addict, or he's a pothead, or he's a.
It's hilarious.
He's a mullet head. He's.
If you've ever met Gene and Gene, it's just hilarious.
He's a waterhead. He's a waterhead. Mullet head. He's got a name. He's got a name for everybody.
Oh, he was roasting every one of them. I don't care. He didn't talk about Ronnie at all, but he was roasting all the other ones. Well, happy trails.
Yeah, happy trails to you until we meet again. And I guess that'll be on that'll be Friday. That's coming up this Friday. It'll be podcast 255 coming up on the Stoned Roadie Show. So happy trails to you until we meet again. And see you later, alligator. At the wild crocodile. And we're going to call that a wrap and cut.
tell me what springs to mind. First impression, say Alan, for example, comes to mind right away, but Alan. Party, party, party. And his look, his hat, the feathers, and his stage appearance. He was a showman. Laid back, bashful, shy. Just you'd have to, I hate to really point the finger at him, but he was he's like a loner, shy type person, but drugs. He stayed wiped out. I guess it's easier for him to stay completely screwed up than it is to face an interview or face a fact that he's part of the band. But now he wants to take credit for credit that he has nothing to do with. Leon, entertainer, has to have people around him all the time, constantly. When you beat your brains up, trying to make sure you got the right people around him. And bar, run around. He'd go to the bar and you'd have to just double check him. Billy was and he is a severe alcoholic. Severe alcoholic. He would like to go to his room or go to the bar and just get drunk and go to his room and he'd like to watch TV. He was a pretty good family man. He'd stay on the phone with his wife, his kids, but he just stay drunk. Screwdrivers, drunk. How about Artimus? Artimus was a weird character. He was more like I won't call him a hypocrite, he would preach religion and all this other stuff, and then behind the door he'd be drunk or drugs, whatever the situation was. But he was weird. Artimus was a weird character. He liked to get away with friends, and kind of like Leon, but just a little different. He had people around him to show that, hey, I'm with the band, I'm the drummer. Gotta have the attention. Gotta be the center of attraction. How about Bob Burns? Bob Burns, way back then, he was of course I had to think he was married back then, so he was bad. He would drink, but his thing was mushroom tea and bad drugs. Bad. Actually, when he could kill that girl in the car wreck, that's when he left the band. Actually, she left that. She kind of flipped out. The drugs. And I guess the thing about it, killing the girl, but he just flipped out. But as far as he was a good guy, good old rebel country boy, good guy. But then drugs and booze destroyed a lot of folks.
I'm sorry, I heard that. So he was driving in an accident and drove out.
He had just built this Butler Bridge here, about 75 probably, just finished it. And he was going across it. She was actually a native whack, a young native whack girl. And she was in probably the right-hand lane and Bob was passing her. And he was probably drugged out and drunk, and the way she normally was then, he swerved over and hit her bumper. She lost control of the car, flipped over and hit the bridge, and they killed her. And so it flipped him out. I mean, it just, the drugs too, but it flipped him out. He was actually institutionalized for some time after that, because of the rehabs and so on and so on, but it flipped him out.
How about Eddie King?
Eddie King left the band in 75, and I only knew him briefly from rehearsals, and he left that Strawberry Alarm Clock band. Eddie King was a severe drug addict. I mean, he was probably the worst one of the bunch, and you had to know him to be a musician and to be with him, and I didn't put up with none of that stuff. I hated drugs, so I didn't associate with him, period. And when he wasn't rehearsing, he was home, and he wasn't there. He was only there for rehearsing. He wasn't there as a friend or fishing or whatever, see. And he left the band in 75, and I never saw him again until he come back with the band at the tribute tour, which was against Alan Collins' wishes.
I always heard that, I always thought that Big King joined band, that Cooper brought him in, pronounced sessions. Is that right, or what?
Well, when Skinner first started out, he wasn't there. And I think Cooper brought him in for the sessions, and then Ronnie kept him as a live musician.
See you later, alligator. listen.